Hey everyone, welcome to episode 44 of the Miami Tech Pod, a special Thursday edition because we got some exciting stuff to talk about that's timely here. But I'm Cesar, joined with the full house of Brian, Maria, and Will this week, and our special guest, Michelle Abbs from Mana Tech. Michelle, welcome to the Miami Tech Pod.
Well, thank you. With the sound effects and all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So awesome to be here.
Will is our resident DJ for those that don't know where these come from. He's in the studio on the ones and twos, dropping air horns and all sorts of things. But
giving
Michelle,
DJ Irie a run for his money.
That's right.
How's it been? Can we first talk about New York? You all had, according to Instagram, a blast, and talk to us about hanging with Ja Rule.
Yeah, we sure did. We were up in New York for NFT.NYC, which was an incredible gathering and meeting of the minds of all the thought leaders. Some incredible NFT products were dropped while we were there. So yeah, we got to bond with the Miami crew that headed up there. And we also got to rub shoulders with some of the folks who are leading the way in the industry, like Ja Rule, who's bought up a lot of land in the metaverse, and he's steeped into this world and what's coming. So
yeah, I particularly thought it was cool to see all of the Miami delegation in full force, right? It looked like like the United Nations or something, where everyone from the United States hangs together in a pack. This was pretty neat.
I think it's neat to see also Miami's becoming a center of influence in this space. A lot of the heavy hitters in this space live here now, or at least spend a good chunk of their time.
Like Michelle.
Yeah.
It's true, actually. We were at a happy hour and someone was mentioning about, all the companies that Andreessen has invested in and how they like to follow on with their deal flow. And I was like, I happen to know someone at this very table.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun being with celeb status like Will most of the time. So
thank you. Not just that, but we did an awesome event. Alex Taub from Upstream he always does killer events, by the way. He's great at that. And we co-sponsored an event with Upstream on Tuesday night. And Tammy McQueen from Panoramic VC, she was there and she was rocking a full Miami.
Yes.
So Miami was full representation even in New York, and it was a thing. Everybody was taking pictures of her jacket, and of course it made its way on Twitter. So Miami had big presence in NFT NYC for sure.
And that's the best part, because she lives in Atlanta and she has been visiting and she's fully bought in on Miami. We're trying to figure out how she can move here, but she's repping Miami even in other cities, even she doesn't live here. So but I definitely wanted to thank Michelle, because I don't think I've won many things in my life. And this past weekend, I won something all because of Michelle's inspiration and brainchild. When we were kind of leading up to Halloween, she's like, I already know what we're going to be. And I'm like, oh, okay, just you tell me and I'll do whatever. So she had this whole idea to recreate World of Women NFTs. And so Michelle, do you want to talk to anything about that inspiration and winning the NFT contest?
That was so fun. And actually, I've never won anything either. So I was standing on stage like, oh my God, this is the first time I've won something. I had a fun moment. So yeah, Damien and Jenny came out with this Miami Tech Life Halloween party themed around NFTs, and they announced some prizes. And because I am, working on my own collection of NFTs and may not have as much ETH as I'd like to buy all of the things, whenever there's giveaways or competitions, and sign me up. So yeah, I had this idea to do, inspired by the World of Women project. And given that there's so many, different women represented in different, sort of attitudes and styles, I was like, this could be so fun for a group of us to do. So yeah, we sort of picked our avatars and who we wanted to be, and then got our cutouts that were actually, tagged with the woman that we were being featured as, and everything. So it was fun to also educate the folks who were there at the party, like what is this project, and to sort of hype up the World of Women project too.
It came out great. Did you guys do the makeup yourself? Because it was like spot on.
Oh no.
No?
I definitely did not.
We're not that talented. No.
We hired Glam Squad, which Alexandra's been on the podcast before. So shout out to Glam Squad. They did an incredible job. But it was a ton of fun. But I think I got some shade because I had to leave before the announcement of the winners because Cesar and Brian were at a party that Cameo threw and that we were nicely invited to by Steven, who was just on the podcast. And Cesar kept trying to tell me I had to be there. So I snuck away to make good up with Cesar.
Well, I was like, Maria, you gotta come over here. The Island Boys are here and they're about to say a few words and I don't want you to miss it. So it was fair.
And that was the day I learned who the Island Boys were.
I think that's the day all of us learned who the Island Boys were.
And I was like,
because we're all above 17.
Yeah.
But I do think we should like insert a clip of or some photos of Michelle and Maria in their costume into the YouTube. So for the YouTube followers, you'll be able to see it.
So Maria, you had left when they announced that you were the. So what? You got like the phone call. You're like, "Yo, you're the." Big
I got a text message. Yeah.
Pretty epic. That's a baller move right there. You know. Yeah, I'm in another. Yeah, I learned that I just won the other party from this other party.
When I got to the other party, nobody knew what I was. I looked like some combination of Cruella de Vil meets David Bowie. And so people were just, and I'm like, I swear there was a whole thing. I had 2 other people part of my costume. So I didn't win any costume contest there.
Maria looked like she crashed into a Hot Topic store and came out of it dressed as an NFT. It was like spiked collars and like blue hair. It was amazing.
No, Michelle had the blue hair, but
okay.
It was a thank you. Night. It was all thanks to Michelle. So, but I digress.
Michelle, tell us before we jump into a really exciting event. Tell us a little bit about Monotech and the work that you all have done. I mean, I feel like once a month or something, there's a like absolutely life-changing, super fun event. Highlighting a bunch of entrepreneurs, pitch contests, all of that. Why don't you walk the listeners who aren't super familiar with the work about that you do for a living, start there, and then we'll go into this big event coming up in a few weeks' time here.
Yeah. So I have the honor of heading up Monotech. And in order to really explain sort of what we do and how we do, I have to connect it to the whole Mana world. So Mana has multiple divisions, and our president, Moishe Mana, who is a community leader and community developer, has often, curated neighborhoods and, his real estate around resources for different industries. So he started in the meatpacking district with the Milk Studios and, really organized around fashion and makeup there. And then all the sort of back end business elements were within that building. And then he brought that recipe to Wynwood. He brought that to Jersey City, where he has Mana Contemporary, which is really focused on the art community. It's a 5-story gallery, again, with all the sort of back end business world aspects. So this idea of, offering resources and services to industries is really, what the mission of Monotech is about. So given that his priority for the real estate here in Flagler Street, which I am sitting in downtown on Flagler Street, so we own 70 buildings downtown that we are working on, refurbing them. But that's going to take some time, to build the physical infrastructure for a neighborhood takes some time. So my role now, in the meantime, is to be the bridge between now and when, all of that is ready. So we are a convener. And the reason you see these events is, that's an opportunity to convene the community and to partner with other organizations that do similar things. So, coming into this role about a year and a half ago, I said, I know my friends in the Miami tech community, folks like Refresh, folks like Endeavor, there's many organizations who are serving the community. And we want to make sure that we are not redundant to any of those. If needs are already being filled in those ways, great. And we want to, be the home for all of our partners eventually when those buildings come online. So in between now and then, it's, really convening, partnering with people, and offering these events as a resource again, the same way that we've done in the other divisions.
Makes sense. One thing that I found super intriguing, I'm gonna forget the name of the actual event, but it's a pitch competition that you guys put together. What can you remind me the name of it?
Yeah, so that was ROI.
ROI. So at ROI, I'll never forget this. There was someone who I was standing next to and leaned over and said, "Hey man, I moved here from San Francisco. I've been to a lot of pitch competitions, but never one with bottle service. This is amazing." And I was like, well, that's Michelle Abbs. Like, you gotta bring some Miami to these pitch competitions. It can't just be, boring and the same. So kudos to you for spicing things up.
And not just bottle service. There's like a live artist painting, a Monopoly guy.
Was there the sparklers? Did you guys do the sparklers on the bottles, like traditional South Beach?
Of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That happened. There's an all-time photo of that on Twitter somewhere.
Yeah, and the idea was, I've hosted other, pitch competitions and been a part of many, and sometimes they can feel a bit like sterile. And look, it's serious business, and serious business went down on the stage that night. And it's a celebration, right? Like what we're seeing happening right now in the Miami community, unicorns are being born of people who were pitching on stage 5 years ago, right? Andreessen Horowitz is backing companies. Tiger is backing companies. Alexis Ohanian's on cap tables. Like things are happening. So it was like, how do we mix this moment of serious business, companies that are being built and getting advice from high profile investors on stage, and let's celebrate, especially after that moment when multiple deals got done, and great connections, occurred on stage. It felt like a celebratory, like pop the bottles moment. So that's what we did. We merged the two things together.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was like absolutely great. There was not a single person at that event who didn't have like a huge smile on their face, or everyone was having fun. But to your point, there was super great companies that it was hard to pick a winner. They were all like solid companies that were absolutely just like rocking, growing at crazy rates, super innovative products, like a ton of investor interest. I thought it was great.
Yeah, a few Cesar invested in, so he's a believer.
This is true. Shout out to Paddle and Letterhead, two companies I've invested in. So, all right. What's on the horizon, Michelle? Let's talk about NFT BZL.
All right. So yeah, this has been taken on a life of its own, which is really incredible. And it started, we have to go back to the inception moment. Will, I almost want to look back on the calendar and find the date of this call. But Will, I think, messaged me, was like, hey, I got an idea. Do you have a second, jump on a call? And he said, hey, what if we did an NFT event, around Basel? Maybe, before, after, just a couple, people, start small. And fast forward.
Now you rent out to the FTX arena.
Right, exactly. So hold on a second. Like, yeah, okay, sure. I made the phone call. This was an idea that I had. Of course, art and NFTs and tech, Miami and Art Basel. Perfect place for an NFT event. So it was just like a friendly, really like an impulsive call to Michelle. And in my mind, I was like, okay, yes, kind of like an intimate gathering or like something, small. And, of course, and I was like, you know what? I'm just kind of chopping it up with Michelle, talking high level ideas. And for folks that are listening that know Michelle, she gets shit done. So within the course of a few weeks, this was fully in motion, in execution. And I mean, yeah, look, ideas are a dime a dozen, Michelle. I can give you ideas all day long, but it was your execution and drive to really make this a reality. And before we knew it, like, again, you put amazing stuff in motion, got amazing speakers on board, and It's now at the FTX Arena. For folks that don't know, that's the formerly known as the AAA, or the Miami Heat play. So yeah, what was originally supposed to be an intimate conference, it's going to be done pretty big and pretty epically. So kudos to you, Michelle, for pulling this off.
Yeah.
How many seats are you guys going to have for this?
So we're setting up the stage on the court, and then there's about 700 seats that are on the court level there, and then we open into the lower bowl. So, total in that lower bowl plus the folks on the court, that's 10,000. We don't want to, the NFT community is hot, but we don't want to go all the way up, into the stadium and have too much of a sort of distanced event. The idea is like bringing people together, but yeah, we're gonna have a lot of folks there.
So tell us a little bit about what we are going to expect at NFT Basel. Like what type of programming, speakers, like what's the value prop for someone that has heard about it, has seen your tweets, but wants to learn a little bit more as we get closer here?
Yeah. So there are 3 things we're going to achieve on that day, and they'll sort of get into how we're going to do it, and then also who the audience and who this is a great fit for. So we are going to inspire, we're going to educate, and we're going to set people up to take action after that day. So the dawn of like Web3 and everything that is happening around smart contracts and digital assets very broadly is incredibly inspiring. Like, we are on the precipice of this major tidal wave of change, and that's just feels like so energizing. Like, the possibilities really are endless. And so we want to inspire, we want to present projects, we want to present some of the generative art stuff we're seeing, holographic AI images of NFTs that are just like mind-blowing, and then that inspires new thoughts and creative ideas into what people may be doing. But the second verb, which is incredibly important, is educate. We want to demystify some of this. Like, you get into the NFT community and there's some fun, buzzwords, and you better learn what, WAGMI stands for. Like, we're going to demystify some of these things. And then we believe that people are going to learn and be educated. They're going to be inspired, and then they're going to want to do something with that. So that's the action part, right? So if you're a collector, what does it mean to set up your wallet and to, search for different projects on different marketplaces? If you're a creator, what are the things you should be thinking about when you're digitizing your products? Like, which marketplaces should you choose? What should you be thinking about in the contract setup? How should you market a plan to get this in front of audiences more broadly? Or if you're an engineer and you're an entrepreneur and you're an investor and you want to be part of the infrastructure, growing into Web3, what are the companies that are doing really cool things out there that are hiring, and where can you go to be a part of this? So that's like high level what we're doing. But the day is going to be a fusion of panels and talks on that main stage on the court, and then a really cool gallery and activation area where people will get to see some cool art featured in the digital gallery, and also see some activations of different projects. So we have, for example, we have Outcast NFT who's coming, and they have a really cool installation and activation to showcase what they're doing. We have our local Miami brand, Axe Lab, which is a VR company and a gaming studio, and they're setting up a VR installation. So yeah, we're gonna, get to experience the power of NFTs through some of those as well.
Yeah, and I'd like to add also that, there's a lot of NFT stuff that's going to be happening around Basel. There's going to be little side events and things like that. But really what Michelle has put together here is like a masterclass on NFTs and Web3. Like, this is a very carefully constructed agenda. Like, this is a one-day event, but like you'll see, like, once it's announced, the panels are like very thoughtfully put together so that there's going to be gaming, there's going to be music, there's going to be all aspects of NFTs that people have questions about, licensing deals, venture capital, etc. If you go to NFT Basel, NFT BZL, you are going to get a masterclass. By the time you leave there, you're going to be coming out there like, okay, I understand this space and why it's important. And then hopefully the goal is that you identify where you want to double down on, and then have people and connections to outside of that event that you can immediately chat with about that stuff. So yeah, it's a masterclass on NFTs on November 30th.
Not only that, I mean, this event is also going to spawn a lot of smaller events that are popping up around it. So it's like created more like gravity around the NFT space in the week leading up to Basel, or traditional Basel, as we'll call it now, right? Old Basel. And I think it's going to further cement Miami's sort of influence in this space. It won't be long before Mayor Suarez is declaring his new city hall in the metaverse or something like that.
It's coming.
So
metaverse town hall meetings is like that could be a thing, right? Because like the barrier to going to a town hall meeting is that you have to like go to a town hall meeting, right? Like if you could just do it from your home and see like the politician, it's interactive. It could like lead to civic engagement. I think there's a little business here. I don't know.
You could
I mean, are we sure we want a clown like Joe Carollo on the metaverse, engaging with his constituents? And like I saw Cesar cringing there because I called this guy a clown. But
hey, people are entitled to their opinion.
Right? It was pretty epic to see just a few days ago, or it was yesterday actually. Time is a weird construct these days. But to see Mayor Suarez and the mayor of New York City go back and forth about who's going to take more of their money in Bitcoin, and that's epic. Like maybe Michelle, maybe we can get the mayor of New York to conference in, and him and Mayor Suarez can chat about that live on stage.
Yo, that I will say,
yeah.
Michelle, you,
I like
for sure you should run with that. But like what I think, I actually wanted to bring this up this episode. What Eric Adams is about to do in New York is going to be super interesting, right? He ran on this like very much, center left, but very much a centrist, pro business. And from day one, he's planting the flag that's like, hey, New York had a massive tech community that provided a lot of value for people, and some like world changing companies have been here. Like, let's not just turn a shoulder to all of these innovators. And I think, me personally, like my personal opinion is, I think he's going to be one of these like transformative figures that is going to save that city from a ton of flight and brain drain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think what Mayor Suarez has done, and County Mayor Danielle Levine Cava, in terms of planting our flag around being a welcoming place to tech communities, is incredible. And what I want to be a part of ensuring, alongside other local community members like you, is that nobody gets left behind with that, right? And so that's why the idea with NFT Basel and having this really big venue and seeking to educate and demystify around that is that I don't want this to feel like, okay, the NFT and the, blockchain technology is something that's like a walled garden and like tech people do over there, right? This is meant for the general public to take part in and to understand, what's coming. Because I think we need to both like be thoughtful about the incredible momentum we have, and not sort of put ourselves in a situation like New York did, right, where they saw an exodus. And so, being, thoughtful around the future, and how do we make sure that everybody feels that this is a technological advancement that they are a part of. And that's also what NFT Basel solves for. So the general public are welcome to come to this event. And I know that's something, that's why Mayor Suarez is speaking at this event and has endorsed it and is behind, because he wants to make sure it feels like, everyone is represented and participating in the upside of this.
Shout out to your cafecito chat with the mayor. I saw that dropped online. How was that?
That was great. I mean, and Francis has been a wonderful supporter. We've actually known each other since my previous role, when I worked running an accelerator program for female founders. And he had a pretty epic moment where he came to one of our events and he was announcing, they were doing a $5,000 donation to the project. And he got on the mic and he said, you know what? I'm going to double that. I want to see $10,000 go to female founders in this space. And so Francis has always been, supportive of, the entrepreneurial community, and, sitting down with him to share what is coming with this event was wonderful, because he, has a power to amplify now in a way. So yeah, really appreciated that. And it was great to spread the word.
So Michelle, you mentioned kind of you used to run an accelerator for female founders. I want to make sure that the audience, especially so many new folks in the community, know that how long you've been part of Miami Tech and all the incredible work you've done over the years. So I know you kind of started at one of our local startups and then kind of ran this incredible accelerator. So could you take us through a little bit about your path to Monotech?
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the team at Nearpod back in, I think it was 2014. I need to check. I was their first customer success hire.
Wow.
I had come from a role in education. I worked with Teach for America for a while. So I wanted to, dive into the tech community and joined an ed tech startup here. But I was so green. Like, I did not know, anything about customer success, but that was an incredible learning experience to dive in, and actually learned that some of the metrics we developed on that customer success team around, how to measure first value delivered, there were still some of the metrics that they used and the formulas they used when they were ultimately acquired last year.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that was my entry point. And then I left and worked for Babson College and ran an accelerator called WIN Lab, which stood for Women Innovating Now, all around, bringing sort of parity and equity in VC funding to female founders, because we know that less than 3% of women-led companies, startups, receive those venture dollars. And that's that's just still a mind-blowing stat to me, and that we haven't really moved the needle there. So I, worked with 60 different female-led companies based out of Miami, and did that for 3 years. And that thread of having a priority around diversity and inclusion and representation is core to my work today, and core to, even the planning with the conference, and making sure that we have folks on stage, that anyone who's in the audience can look on stage and feel like they can relate to someone they see, someone who looks like them represented on stage.
And one other thing I wanted to mention that may not a lot of people may know about is you had this whole Male Ally project, which I thought was brilliant and wonderful. So could you speak a little to that?
Yeah. So what I saw when I was working in the accelerator was that there were a lot of investors, mentors, entrepreneurial advisors. As our female friends know, we need, our male peers to be part of moving the needle on this. Going from 2.7% to closer to 50% is going to take everybody. And I would find a lot of the gentlemen would come to me and say, how do I actually help? Like, what is my role? And there was so many people who wanted answers. And I realized, wow, there isn't really a playbook or advice around men's role in gender equity. And given my work with Teach for America, we spent a lot of time unpacking what it meant to be a white ally in spaces where, we were mostly working with Black and brown kids. And what was my role as a white person? And so I had this sort of ally framework embedded in my brain. And so I said, what would it look like to work that out so that, men understood how they can help support? And one of the ways actually that came up through Nico Berardi was, let's think about representation on panels and in public speaking places. And instead of, having ourselves as a panelist, what does it look like to tap, someone to take that spot and be able to be a thought leader and have a stage in a way that they may not have had.
I love that, Michelle. I'm going to jump in a second, but goes back to the ethos of what you're doing with NFT BZL, right? Like, diverse panels is like a mandate, but what you're doing, chatting with Michelle, she's like making sure, nope, those are two white dudes, not going to fly, I love it.
Who's very good at this too is our good friend Max from Caribou. I was on an email thread where she was invited to a panel. I'm not going to say that like the actual name or the details. I don't know if she wants me sharing this, but she kind of removed herself from it and said like, no, I don't want this seat. I think you should have a Black woman in tech in it, or I won't participate. Right. And it was like super interesting to see her leverage, her role in the community for that reason. And it was like eye-opening for me, because it's like, man, yeah, you actually have that agency when you're invited into things. It's just like, you're clearly a big draw for them, like leverage it to make sure that these panels and speaking engagements, conferences, like community events are actually diverse and inclusive.
Max does a great job calling bullshit on a lot of stuff. I love her for that.
So how do people get involved in NFT Basel? What's the plug here, Michelle? What's the call to action? What do you want the Miami Tech pod listeners to do here?
So look, we are about to have some pretty big names added on to the speaker list and added on to the activation list. I wish I could tease them now, but I can't.
Michelle and I today at 3:00 this afternoon. By the time this airs, we might have something special to announce, shortly after that. But like, we have a big call this afternoon to lock in a whale of a speaker. A
big whale, exactly. Yep. So those announcements will be tweeted out. Follow our account NFT _BZL on Twitter. Also go to the website. www.nftbzl.com. You'll see all the speakers that are currently featured, and then we're going to have these big add-ons coming soon, and the agenda will be there. Buy tickets there, because even though the venue is huge, let me just tell you, after coming back from New York, it doesn't matter how huge it is. Like, the groundswell of excitement around NFT plus the hundreds of thousands of people that come in town for Basel, you're going to want to make sure you get your tickets and lock in that spot. So be on the lookout for updates on Twitter. Go to the website, buy the tickets now. And if you're flying in, book your flight. Get in town on that Monday, November 29th. Stay for the whole week, because it's going to be an epic Miami Art Week experience with lots of tech events, art events, all the mashups.
Boom. Mic drop. Michelle Abbs, thank you so much for joining this week's episode of the Miami Tech Pod. It was really fun. We'll have you back in short order here, but we will all see each other at NFT Basel, and I know it's going to be a success. And anything else you want to add here, team, before we wrap?
I'll just say, as always, all the links for NFT Basel and the Twitter and all that stuff is going to be found in the description of the podcast. So if you guys want to check it out, just look right there and you'll be able to click right to it and get your tickets.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.